This is a stimulus update and daily news report. Got some big news to share with you. So President Biden just canceled another $1.1 billion in student loan forgiveness. I'll let you know who qualifies for that. When it comes to mortgage forbearance, the date is coming soon of when it's going to expire, and I'll let you know what homeowners can do about it. Bernie Sanders spoke up again about the $3.5 trillion stimulus package. I'll let you know what he said. And Katie Porter, who is the Progressive Caucus deputy chair member, has a video clip talking more about the timeline and what's included in that $3.5 trillion stimulus. I'll play that video clip later on. Then I'll answer the questions you leave for me in the comments. Hope you're having a fantastic Friday. If you appreciate these fact-based, fast-paced updates, hit the like button down below. So when it comes to student loan forgiveness, Education Department discharges $1.1 billion in debt for 115,000 ITT students. So what's going on here is the Education Department will cancel student debt for 115,000 borrowers. So they said this yesterday, Thursday, so it's gonna be 1.1 billion for 115,000 borrowers, and the debt forgiveness will go to those who attended ITT Technical Institute for profit school that is now defunct. Because it is defunct now, the Biden administration, the US Department of Education, is now paying $1.1 billion to those borrowers. Let me know down in the comments below, anybody from ITT Tech and you're getting any benefit from this, let me know. So also, President Biden, up until this date, has approved $9.5 billion in student loan cancellations this year for defrauded and disabled students. So that's a lot of money. We're still not at that $10,000 or $50,000 per federal loan student forgiveness yet, but hopefully that comes. There's been no mention of that, and so we don't know of that coming anytime soon. When it comes to weekly jobless claims, they hold around era low, and the GDP is revised higher to 6.6. So looks like those numbers are pretty good. 353,000 for the week of August ending August 21st, which is higher than the previous week of 349,000, and they estimated it to be 350,000. So it looks like they're pretty much on par. If we look at this, unemployment, jobless claims are a big indicator of how the economy is going. Still pretty low, probably one of the lowest weeks and months that we've had so far if we look at the chart right here. Next, let's talk about what's going on with mortgage payments and foreclosures and forbearance. So paused mortgage payments are resuming for many homeowners. Foreclosures and sales are sure to follow. So what's going on here is about 1.6 million homeowners who sought relief through the government's mortgage forbearance program will soon exit, with 850,000 exiting in the first wave now through October. That means many homeowners will have to decide whether they want to keep making their mortgage payments, modify their loan, or cash out in a hot housing market by selling their home. So it looks like there's going to be a lot of changes because September 30th is when the mortgage forbearance program will end. So we're going to see a big change there. There hasn't been any mention of that being extended either. When it comes to rental assistance, I mentioned this yesterday's video, 89% of federal rental assistance remains unspent as potential eviction crisis looms. So rental assistance is still available. If you type in rental assistance and your town, county, city, or state, you'll definitely find it. Past videos I've shown the website of where you could find it as well. But this brings a big question. Why is it only 11% that has been given out? Out of the $46.5 billion, only $5.2 billion has been sent out, which is ridiculous. A lot of people have asked, why is this happening? Well, one of the reasons they're saying is that the money was just given to the state with no program of how to send out this money to renters and landlords. And also another big part of this is incompetence and lack of manpower. I came across this article right here, how a New Jersey man filed more than 100 unemployment claims and stole $1.2 million, feds say. So if one man, he did have accomplices according to the article, but if one man was able to file 100 fraudulent unemployment claims and stole $1.2 million, I think it could kind of, you could connect the dots of how incompetent the state's computer systems are, and their software and labor systems, unemployment, and so they're probably not able to get that money out. They just don't know how. I just don't think they have the ability to. So I think this story was crazy, but how can someone get away with that? I think the states and all the computer systems probably need to be updated. They're way outdated. Next, let's talk about the California stimulus check. So millions of Californians to get another round of stimulus checks soon. When to expect the money? So state officials expect latest round of state stimulus payments to be issued to Californians by next Tuesday, August 31st. So that's going to be the $600 checks for anyone making $30,000 to $75,000, and you get an additional $500 if you have a dependent. Next, let's talk about what's going on with the craziness of the $3.5 trillion stimulus package, the voting, the arguing, the negotiating. So Bernie Sanders shuts down moderates' complaints that $3.5 trillion social spending plan needs cuts, saying I already negotiated. So right here, pictured is Kyrsten Sinema. She is one of the Democrat senators from Arizona who is against the $3.5 trillion stimulus package, saying that it is too expensive and she is not going to vote on it, which is a big deal, because the Democrats need every single Democrat senator, to be on board in order for it to pass, and just one member like Kyrsten Sinema will derail the entire thing, and nobody will get any stimulus at all. So what's going on here is, in an interview with Politico published Thursday, the Vermont Independent said he wasn't interested in cutting the size of the $3.5 trillion spending plan Democrats are starting to assemble. Keyword here, starting to assemble. We're starting to get pieces here and there of what's in it. We don't officially know exactly what's in it. That's what they're negotiating. And then some moderates like Senator Kyrsten Sinema of Arizona already said they're opposed to the package because of its sizable price tag. Bernie Sanders said, I've already negotiated. He said, the truth is we need more, and the needs are there. This is, in my view, the minimum of what we should be spending. So if it was up to Bernie Sanders, it would probably be $10 trillion and everybody would get $2,000 a month stimulus checks. But there is opposition among the Democrat Party. The latest of what Bernie Sanders said is nearly 18 million households are paying over 50% of their incomes on housing. That is absurd. It's time for bold action. It's time for an unprecedented investment in affordable housing. So there's a lot of movement going on. We're starting to get little breadcrumbs of what's going to be in this big stimulus package. With Bernie Sanders in charge of it, he's probably going to try to push for as much as he possibly can and see what's going to happen with the moderate Democrats. Here is a video clip from Katie Porter, who is the deputy chair for the Progressive Caucus. The reason why her position is so important is because the Progressive Caucus are the ones who wanted the fourth stimulus check, $2,000 per month. They wanted the increase in Social Security, $200 more per month, as well as the home buyer credit of $15,000 to $25,000, student loan forgiveness of $50,000. All of those juicy stimulus proposals. This is all lies on the Progressive Caucus. So here's Katie Porter talking more about the timeline as well as what is potentially in that $3.5 trillion package.
I have to say, I didn't feel a lot of suspense in the maneuver that the 10 House Democrats were trying to use as leverage against Nancy Pelosi. It seemed, and by the way, they seemed kind of reasonable about being willing to compromise. They used ultimatum language, but also compromise language at the same time. And so you're now moving forward. Is it fair to say that the Biden infrastructure bills are on track now in the House of Representatives?
Today, we moved forward three key priorities. And these are the priorities that House Democrats ran on, that President Biden ran on. And those priorities were to protect voting rights, to repair our infrastructure, and to strengthen our economy so it can compete globally. And today's vote moved all three of those priorities forward. Speaker Pelosi has been clear from the beginning that we were going to deliver President Biden's jobs plan and his family's plan together, because we understand that those things are connected. And what today's vote did is really set that process up, just as we had expected it to go.
I want to listen to something that President Biden said today about how this is paid for.
And this is all paid for. Instead of giving every break in the world to corporations and CEOs, By the way, 55 of our largest companies in America paid $0 in federal taxes on more than $40 billion in profit last year. We can ask corporations and the very wealthy just to pay their fair share. They can still be very wealthy. They can still make a lot of money, but just begin to pay their fair share.
This is a concept that is polling very strongly. Usually the pay for side of legislation is the part that doesn't poll so well. But Americans seem to support the concept of the fair share being paid, especially by rich corporations.
Well, of course they should. Everybody should pay their fair share. Those largest corporations make extensive use of our infrastructure, our roads, our ports, and our bridges. They sell to U.S. consumers. They take advantage of our American workforce, so the public education that our workforce receives. So it's not surprising to me that everybody thinks that tax fairness is an important concept. I think this is something that you're seeing in polling and you're hearing on the ground. I'm certainly hearing this, that Democrats, Republicans, independents, tax fairness is about having a strong, stable, healthy economy. If we want to compete globally, we need to make some of these investments in paid family leave, in childcare, in our infrastructure. And that's exactly what we're going to do with this bill.
Are there pieces that got knocked out of the Senate bipartisan bill that will find their way into the budget reconciliation bill?
Absolutely. The bill that the House sent over to the Senate on infrastructure contained a lot more investments in clean energy, in combating climate change, in coastal resilience, in working on drought resilience. A lot of those things came out with the Senate's bipartisan process. So those are exactly the kinds of priorities, the things that need to be done to protect our planet, to strengthen our economy, that the House is going to be looking to work with our Senate counterparts on to put in the budget process. And the committee structure is going to have the ability right now. I sit on the Natural Resources Committee. We're having discussions not only about what we want to put in the budget reconciliation process, but also how we're going to pay for it.
And what is the schedule for the committees reporting back so that the budget reconciliation bill can be voted on in the House? Is that a September vote?
I think that's going to be a September vote. We go back and we're going to be there in Washington for 2 weeks at the end of September. We're hearing, I think we'll see different committees come forward at different times, but I suspect that we'll start to see some of the contours of this legislation come forward here after Labor Day and up through September 15th or so. The goal is to give Congress members on both sides of the aisle and both the House and the Senate a chance to be in conversation to flush out these plans. The president has laid out key priorities. He talked about 2 free years at community college, talked about tax fairness, he talked about, addressing paid family leave, child care. Now we have to get down to exactly what that's going to look like on the ground. What are the programs going to look like? Are they going to be universal? Are they going to help everybody? What can we do on prescription? What can we do to expand vision and dental and hearing coverage to seniors? We know what our priorities are. Now we're going to figure out how we're going to deliver them and how we're going to pay for them.
So what are your thoughts on what Katie Porter said? Do you agree, disagree? You may have noticed that she did not mention any fourth stimulus check, any increase in Social Security. Doesn't mean it's not going to be in there yet, but it's not in there as of now. Just want to make that clear. So if we look here, this is the House Progressives website. You can see Katie Porter. She is second in line. She's a deputy chair, right behind the chair, which is Pramila Jayapal. If we look at this past article right here, Rashida Tlaib and Pramila Jayapal unveiled bill to provide $2,000 monthly payments to everyone. So as I mentioned before, the Progressive Caucus, these are the members who are going to give the biggest stimulus. And right here, Ilhan Omar is the one who proposed the $1,200 per month universal basic income for every single American. So they're definitely heavy-handed when it comes to stimulus proposals. Will we get it? It all depends on what's going to happen within the Democrat Party with the moderates and the centrists, if they are willing to let it go. Next, I'm going to answer the questions you leave for me in the comments. Bernice Weston asks, how about extend forbearance for people that's behind in mortgage? So supposedly it's expiring for some people now, but phasing out until September 30th, which is a little over a month away. Joanne Johnson says, on the adult tax credit, if people earn what's within the guidelines, is the payment automatic or do they need to apply for it? Thank you, David. Well, thank you for the comment. Thanks for your support. To answer your question, you will have to file a tax return. To be honest, I have an accountant that files my wife and I's taxes, and she just comes up with all these tax credits for us. So, but most likely it'll be really simple. So you do have to file your taxes in order for the adult tax credit, assuming that it passes as proposed. But in terms of getting the payment automatic, that's not the case. You do have to file your taxes. Next question comes from Angela Odessa Guarneri Halabag. Remind me again why and where that $1 billion went to that guy's wife. What is it being used for? And she's got the audacity to ask for another $1 billion. Yeah, so that $1 billion to that guy's wife, that is Senator Joe Manchin from West Virginia. He's very popular because he's the one who's always against the stimulus packages, and he's a Democrat, so all the Democrats have to convince him to get on board. He said that he was not going to be on board with that $3.5 trillion stimulus plan, but somehow his wife got $1 billion for her committee, which is called the Appalachian Committee. I'm not really sure what it does, but once we found out that his wife was getting $1 billion for her committee, he went along with the plan. I don't know if it was a coincidence or what. Let me know your thoughts on that, but yeah, $1 billion towards his wife's committee. It's a little suspect. Anyways, that is all the stimulus news I have for you today to hopefully cheer you up a bit. Here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Hi guys, this is Bella. This is the tip of the day. 90% of headaches, you need to drink some water because headaches with water, headaches makes you feel dry and it doesn't make you feel good.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Thank you for